Hi, I'm Eric from MeTime. Today we'll be walking step by step through how to stitch out the Sydney Passport Folio and Luggage Tag from Hoop Studio. These projects are time perfect for summer trips or for people starting new adventures. If you're new to MeTime, we deliver complete machine embroidery experiences right to your door. You can learn more at metimedelivered.com. Before we begin, let's see what comes in the kit this month. You will get this fabric stack with 10 designs to mix and match. There are 2 4x4 pieces of each design. There is also a passport folio blank, embroidery leather, a notebook, address card, hole punch tool, clear vinyl, wash-away topping, a wire ring with silicone beads, and full color instructions. We're going to make both projects, so I'm starting with the Sydney Passport Folio. Let's jump right in. Hoop the Kimberbell sticky back wash-away stabilizer in the hoop, glossy paper side up. With something sharp, like scissors, a seam ripper, or pin, score around the inside of the hoop. Peel the glossy paper off to expose the adhesive stabilizer. Load the Passport Folio design into your embroidery machine. For machine step 1, stitch the Passport Folio placement line in a neutral thread color. Let's talk about how to identify the front of the Passport Folio blank. Here's the back. There are these 2 little triangles in the corners to tuck your passport or notebook into. On the other side of these triangles is the front of the folio. For instructions step 7, place the folio right side up with the front cover aligned with the placement line. Press it down with your hands to adhere it to the stabilizer. All right, on to machine step 2. Stitch the balloon placement line in a neutral thread color. Place the balloon fabric right side up, covering the placement line, and tape in place. You can choose whatever fabric you want from the fabric stack. Now, stitch the balloon tack down line with a neutral thread color. Remove the tape and trim the fabric close to the stitch line. For this month's Fresh Technique, we are learning the secrets of success for working with embroidery leather. The first step I want to share with you is to use sticky back wash-away stabilizer. The next tip is to use a layer of wash-away topping to keep the stitches from sinking into the leather. The last tips are to slow down your machine speed and use a new 70-10 needle. If you follow all of these suggestions, you'll have great results. Okay, back to instruction step 12. Place 1 layer of wash-away topping centered over the front cover of the folio. Tape the topping on only the top, right and bottom sides. For machine step 4, stitch the balloon satin outline and the folding lines using a coordinating color. I'm using the cream color. For machine step 5, switch your thread to the taupe color to stitch the basket fill. Switch your thread to the light gray color to stitch the balloon and basket details. Switch your thread to the darker gray color for machine step 7. Stitch the Bon Voyage text. Next, remove all the tape and tear away the excess topping. Remove the project from the hoop. Turn the project to the back. Cut away the excess stabilizer close to the folio, being careful not to cut the leather. Rinse the project in cool water to dissolve any remaining stabilizer and topping, and lay flat to dry. After the project is dry, fold between the 2 fold lines that were stitched earlier. Using a pressing cloth, press the project along the fold. Remember to always use a pressing cloth when pressing to protect the leather. This will help the folio stay closed during use. Insert a passport or notebook into the passport folio and you're done with that project. Okay, we're ready to move on to the next project. Some things I like about this luggage tag is that it can be customized with whatever monogram and fabric scraps you want. It also comes with the address card. I have already pre-cut my fabrics, so now I'm ready to iron fusible backing to the wrong side of pieces 1, 2, 3, and 4. For instruction step 2, hoop the Kimberbell wash-away stabilizer. Load the Luggage Tag Part 1 embroidery file into the machine. I'm ready to stitch the pocket placement line for machine step 1. Place the pocket leather right side up with the top edge aligned with the top edge of the placement line as shown. Tape in place. For machine step 2, stitch the pocket tack down line in a visible color. Remove the tape, but don't trim the leather yet. Stitch the pocket window line in a visible color. Remove the hoop from the machine and place it on a cutting mat. With a utility knife, carefully cut the pocket window opening exactly on the trim line, cutting the stitches off as you go. Cut through both the leather and the stabilizer. This raw edge will show in the completed project. Turn the hoop to the back. Place the pocket window vinyl covering the pocket window opening and align the top edge of the vinyl exactly with the top edge of the leather. Tape the corners and sides in place. Machine step 4, using the light gray thread, stitch the pocket window tack down line. Remove the project from the hoop, turn the project to the back, remove the tape. Don't trim the leather or vinyl yet. Cut away the excess stabilizer. This is the pocket, set aside to use later. Hoop the Kimberbell wash-away stabilizer into your machine embroidery hoop. Load the desired Luggage Tag Part 2 file into your machine. You can choose any monogram you'd like. If you don't want a monogram, you can choose any file, but make sure to skip direction 30 and machine step 14. With a neutral thread color, stitch the tag back placement line. Place one tag leather piece right side up, covering the placement line. Tape in place. Change the thread to light gray. Stitch the tag back tack down line. Don't trim the leather yet. Machine step 3 is stitching the piecing template. Place the piece 1 fabric right side up, centered over section 1. Tape in place. Stitch the trimming line for piece 2. This is also the placement line. On instruction step 9, trim the fabric close to the stitch line. Place piece 2 fabric right side down, centered along the stitch line. Line up the edge of the fabric like this. Tape in place. For machine step 5, stitch the seam. Flip the fabric right side up. Using a pressing cloth, press well. You can also finger press well and tape. Machine step 6, stitch the trimming line for piece 3. We are still using light gray thread. Trim the fabric close to the stitch line. Place piece 3 fabric right side down, centered along the stitch line. Tape in place. On machine step 7, stitch the seam. If you like this stitch and flip way of piecing, check out our Perfectly Pieced subscription. Flip the fabric right side up using a pressing cloth and press well. I'm going to finger press and tape instead. Stitch the trimming placement line for machine step 8. Trim the fabric close to the stitch line. Place the piece 4 fabric right side down, centered along the stitch line. For machine step 9, stitch the seam. Flip the fabric right side up using a pressing cloth and press well. Stitch the piecing tack down line to complete machine step 10. Trim the fabric as close as you can to the stitch line without cutting your stitches. This will make for a nice, clean satin stitch later. After switching your thread to the cream color, stitch the piecing decorative line. Place the wash-away topping covering the piecing and tape in place. Stitch the piecing satin outline using the light gray thread. Remove the tape, then tear away the excess topping from the outside and inside of the stitching. For machine step 13, use the taupe thread to stitch the piecing accent lines. If you would like to include a monogram, stitch the monogram letter fill. If you don't want a monogram, skip step 30 and machine step 14. Remove the hoop from the machine, turn the hoop to the back, then place the remaining tag leather right side up, covering the project. Tape the corners and edges in place. Using the light gray thread, stitch the tag, front tack down line, and pocket placement tick marks. Remove the tape. Don't trim the leather yet. For machine step 16, stitch the eyelet placement stitch. Remove the hoop from the machine, place the hoop on a cutting mat. Using the hole punch tool and a hammer, punch a hole through all the layers of leather and stabilizer. Make sure to line it up exactly in the center of the eyelet placement area. Change the bobbin thread to match the top thread, then stitch the eyelet satin outline. Remove the hoop from the machine, turn the hoop to the back, place the previously prepared pocket right side up, with the top edge lined up with the placement tick marks and the outer stitching on both sides aligned. Tape the corners and sides in place securely so when the hoop is placed back in the machine, the pocket stays in place and doesn't shift. Machine step 18, stitch the final outline. Remove the project from the hoop. Remove all the tape. Trim all layers of leather, vinyl, and stabilizer 1/8 inch from the final outline. This is a raw edge design. Use a wet cotton swab to dissolve any remaining topping and stabilizer. Lay flat to dry. Attach the keyring to the luggage tag. Insert the address card into the pocket on the luggage tag. Okay, that's it. We're finished with both projects. We're excited to hear where you're going for your summer trips, or if you plan to give these to someone else. Go over to the Me Time community and let us know, or leave a comment on this video. Thanks for joining me. Now go enjoy a little well-deserved me time.